So here we are at our locals testing. We are not going to give you a deck list tonight for this event, just because the deck list that we are playing for today is the deck list that we plan on taking to WCQ. So game one, we play against a new player playing Dark World. And having played Dark World long ago and seeing it when it was very prevalent, we know how scary the deck can be if you don't open draw. Thankfully, he opened bad and wasn't able to do a lot of pushing, and we were able to take it in game 1 and 2. Round 2, we play against Galaxy Eyes. I think it was Galaxy Eyes Dragon OTK. Game 1, he drolled me, and we still kept full control of the game. Game 2, we Zeused a little early, and we ended up losing value on the Zeus. We should have definitely held it and just waited a little bit longer. And then game 3, he drolled me again. He charming me, and we were like, oh, we don't care. We're just going to give you one draw, and we're going to pop off. And we did. We burned him, summoned under Nibiru, game. And there's round 3, so we're going to go ahead and see where round 3 takes us. All right, so round 3, play against Orchis Horus Fiendsmith. And we played game 1 all the way to time, and we ended up taking game 1. We go into game 2 for 2 minutes left, and he just gives it to me. We looked at the starting hand, and what it would have been, it was Holly Zeus and enough attributes revealed to get Borger to burn. So I mean, we were cooking, so didn't matter. But that's round 3. Round 2, we play against Blue Eyes, and we bricked so hard game 1. And then game 2, we bricked even harder. I hate the fact that we're seeing Fire Attacker in our starting hand all night. We just had maybe 1 or 2 duels where we didn't have Fire Attacker in our starting hand. And it just hurts. It just hurts seeing it in our starting hand. It's nice to have it as an attribute reveal, but at the same time, I would rather have it be in the deck as the Impulse, because Rescue's Impulse gives him an attacker to draw to. So we ended up losing against Blue Eyes, which is sad. But we do end the night 3-1, so pretty good. We're excited to get more testing in before Nats or the World Championship qualifier. But this is the start of our journey there. So pretty sure we do end up placing in the top 4, whatever. Really depends on tiebreakers and how it goes for the rest of the night, but pretty sure we're good. So we'll just cut it off there. And then after the WCQ, we will definitely show you what we're playing, because the deck list is not going to change until the WCQ. Well, I mean, 2 cards will change, but that's because I just don't have them. So, but we will see you guys in the next video. So here we are, guys. Welcome to our NAWCQ vlog. We dive right in. So we did miss recording our first flight, but we did make it to Dallas Fort Worth, and here we are waiting until our next flight. We've got about 30 minutes till the boards, so made it just in time. Got us up some snacks to survive the 2.5-hour flight till we get to Indianapolis to get checked in to our hotel and get, of course, checked into the event and see if we can pick up some cards before tomorrow. I know one of the guys is going to hook me up to finish my deck, but we're also going to see if we can also just buy the cards we're looking for to finish the deck. At least the side deck. That is the one thing that we do need to finish. And this is what happens when you put off wanting to pick up a card, and you don't pick up a card, and then eventually you need said card, and you're just like, well, now here we are, last minute trying to pick up the card. So, but if not, we do have someone that has the card for us, so we're at least hooked up that way. So, just gonna wait around until our flight's ready to board, and then we'll jump on and we'll get on with our day. So here is the actual day. We did not record on day 1 technically of the NAWCQ. We just kind of got here, got a little bit overwhelmed with everything that was going on, with getting ourselves checked in, getting to the venue and all, my hotel, everything. Yeah, Indianapolis is pretty nice. It's very humid here, so it is nice being inside. Definitely am more used to dry heat, so it's a little bit something. Also, they have a lot of road construction around here, which kind of blows, especially when I have a car that I'm not very used to driving. Big old truck, man. I'm not used to driving a big truck, so it's a little difficult for me. But we're making our way to the venue right now, so let's head on over and see what day 2, but day 1 for our actual NAWCQ has in store for us. Okay, so here we are, and as you can see, you are seeing, you know, this is insane, right? We'll flip the camera for you so that way you guys can see a little bit better. But this is what 2,800 duelists looks like. This is incredible. So round 2 is still going on. I just finished. We don't want to give you guys as much as a report as more of like how this experience is. So my first 2, so round 1 and 2, both duelists are also first timers like myself. And, you know, they were great sports. You know, we just had some great dialogue. And, you know, I think that's like the real great thing about this community is that, you know, we are very much about connecting with each other while not being like dicks about it or anything. Sure, losing does suck when you lose, but I mean, being a good sport is also another thing that you have to take into consideration while also playing this game, you know, especially if you love it so much. And it's just so fun. Like, as you can see over there, there's like a whole bunch of booths set up selling cards. We were able to pick up some cards, rarity bumps, you know, just things that we were like super looking for. And, you know, we got good deals for them too, which is awesome. Not having to wait for TCG Player to get them delivered. You know, it's just a fun experience if you've never been to a YCS, a WCQ, you know, things of that nature where they're like bigger events. And, you know, thankfully we are getting a lunch break because when I read the FAQ, it said no lunch break. So I'm happy that we're getting lunch because I could use food. But this has just been super fun. And like the token booth over there, I went with the guys that are here that from Albuquerque and plan on doing the same thing with the guys in Santa Fe just to have that experience. Because I mean, yes, it is definitely fun playing this game. I definitely love it. But there is something about just being here with people that you share a love for the game with that is just, you know, irreplaceable. And what's fun too is like you're seeing, you know, all these duelists, and some of these duelists have their parents here or they have their significant others here. You see some cosplay, like we saw a Kitchen Dragon maid walking around. We saw Arias Butler, the Labyrinth player that was on stream long ago that got top 8 at a YCS, I believe. There's also Kaiba walking around too, which is really cool. They got center stage over there somewhere, which is cool. We plan on like sitting just maybe eventually just to get that experience, maybe being on camera for all the homies, you know, and all you guys that do watch this. But I mean, I guess by the time you see this video, you'll probably may have already seen me on camera, but who knows. But yeah, this has just been such a fun experience, and it's fun again being with people that you know. So there are 9 rounds of Swiss today, 3 rounds tomorrow, and then Top Cut. And we just finished our round 2, so there's still 7 rounds left to play to go. Let's not get burnt. So I know lately I haven't been playing much of, you know, Pendulum. We've been playing meta, but like honestly, I love Yuya Sakaki. He's my man. He is my boy. I really wish Pendulum was great. Konami, please, free Electromite next ban list, please. So, funny story, you guys. So honestly, this stuff is cool, first of all. We've got a picture of Mathmech Circular over there. But so duelists come from all over the North America region. Now, I grew up in California, and I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In California. Lo and behold, you know, fast forward, you know, I moved out 9 years ago, and I've been in Idaho and now New Mexico. Come here, and I run into 2 guys that I knew back in high school, of all things, and they're here for the WCQ, which is super awesome. Again, this community is just so cool. Like, we're running into old friends that I just never thought I would ever see, and, you know, be able to catch up for a bit at the WCQ was really cool. And they remember me as the person that didn't go to locals and all this and that, and which, like, in fairness, I didn't. I didn't start playing like really competitively or just like at all until 2019, 2020-ish, COVID era. But if we're really gonna say 2021 is when I really started being competitive, started going to locals and all that. And you know, we've seen me play Mathmech, we've seen me play all sorts of things. But anyways, this isn't about me. It's just how this community is so awesome. You know, you run into old friends that you never thought you'd ever see again. you run into people that maybe you've met before as they come to regionals. I saw some people in line as we were doing the token that I know they've come to the regional in Albuquerque. And so it's just so cool to see one card game just bring in this many people to just be together in a place. Sure, some of them might get tilted when they lose or they throw fits about rulings and all that, but altogether we're a great community. I know people might say we're toxic, but we can be toxic, but we're a fun toxic. We ain't toxic, if you know what I mean. But this has been so fun so far. We're gonna head out to lunch and get us some food because we're hungry. Okay, so we ended up playing till around 6 and dropped. So we played 2 back-to-back games where we're very similar decks, and they both confessed to me that they were playtesting heavy against the deck that I chose. So, which I will admit, losing 3 straight back-to-back sucked. And I'm a very emotional person, so I just had to walk it off. I just walked around the venue for, I don't know, 20 minutes, just kind of walking it off, looking at vendors. I did pick up a cool Tellarknight mat. I have been eyeing that for a bit. I almost got an Odd Eyes Pendulum one too, because I love Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, one of my favorite pendulums. They have one for Astrograph. I'd be all over it, because we love Astrograph here. But Tellarknights was one of the very first decks that I picked up, so I felt very nostalgic and reminiscent. So again, that is another cool thing about the event. There's just so much to buy. So definitely come with cash, because that was my one mistake, not having cash, but it is what it is, right? And we may be out of the main event, but there are still side events that we can play tomorrow. And so we are really looking at the 3v3, and we were going to think about changing up our list to our version 1, which was the version that I really wanted to play for this event, but this version was a little bit more competitive. So we're going to head back to our hotel, get some food, more than likely from the lobby, and just crash, because we got very little sleep last night and I want to sleep. So let's make our walk back. So day 2 was something. We're up at 7. We're over at the venue by 8ish, and we just kind of enjoy the atmosphere a bit. So we finally started in the 3v3 at 11. Was originally supposed to start at 10, but they had to double and then double the cap again because there's just so many teams that wanted to play. We get a 1-round bye. We go round 2, and my hand was just not great in neither game, going going second and then first. And I just could not play against Mitsurizio. Mitsurizio is the bane of Vanquish Soul. At least the way that I play it. But for my other 2 teammates, it was a little bit better experience. We ended up not progressing past that point, so we go and do another side event of Rivalry of the Warlords. That one was pretty fun. We got a pre-constructed deck. We played best of 3, no siding, and it was very, very interesting. It does have its own meta for sure. I was unfortunate and got Ashenid and was paired against Light and Darkness Dragon with a Galaxy Eyes package for a Swift OTK. He was able to take game 1, game 2, was able to fuse off his stuff and just swing for big damage. And then game 3, he OTK'd me. So that was fun. We opened nothing playable, and we top deck Super Poly for turn, but it was too late, so we ended up picking up some really cool stuff. We found a Tellarknight playmat that I've been wanting for a really long time. Found some Odd Eyes playmats too from past years, which is really cool because I personally love Odd Eyes. I mean, come on. We love the pen scale. We love the pen scale. Picked up some cards, spent some money. Yeah, definitely if you do come to one of these things, definitely bring a binder to maybe sell off stuff if you're wanting to do that. Pick up some cards. Definitely have cash, because that is like a huge thing that I wish I knew. Having cash on hand rather than having to pay with card every time I had cash, we wouldn't be charged like ridiculous tax fees and whatever. Cash is definitely the way to go. Bring food, water with you. Events, their concessions do cost a little bit more. So just bring like water with you, which I had water with me, and they had fountains there that you could refill, which was awesome. Not having to like try and walk who knows how far to get a water or whatever. But that was really good. And again, just have fun. We definitely are spent. I am exhausted, and I didn't even play a lot of events, but I was up traveling, and now our WCQ experience has come to an end. But thank you for joining us in this journey as we head to the WCQ. Unfortunately, none of us from Albuquerque or New Mexico, for that matter, were able to make it very far into the tournament, as you guys have probably seen on the live stream. But this event has been a very good experience for a lot of us, and for those that have come to this, there's more to look forward to the next one. So we'll catch you there. All right, so now we are back home and back in the studio. Figured we would show you our Vanquished Soul deck that we went in and played with for the main event, as well as our 3v3 that we did. Also showcasing our WCQ mat. It is a real honor that we were able to go. Sure, we did spend a lot of money to get there, and to show for it, this is what we got. But let's go ahead and zoom on in now. And to showcase our Vanquished Soul, kicking off our lineup with, of course, the one, the only 3 copies of Vanquished Soul Razin. Razin is our key starter for the deck, but alongside Razin, Madlove has also become a starter for this deck, which is really awesome. And we are playing 3 copies of Madlove because we want to be able to see either one of these 2 to be able to get into our combo. And then as well, we also played 3 copies of Vanquished Soul Holly Sue. When I was walking around, a lot of people were asking vendors for Holly Sue, and not a single Holly Sue was in sight the entire day, which was incredible. Seeing how many people are wanting to play this deck. And then we do round out with 1 Caesar Valius, 3 copies of Heavy Borger, and 2 copies of Zhao Long for our Vanquished Soul monster names. So this deck is a 41. You can play a second copy of Caesar and drop one of our one-ofs that we do play in the deck. But I felt like this was a pretty good ratio alongside the other hand traps that we do play for the deck. So I think overall it was pretty good. Which, speaking of the rest of our Vanquished Soul engine, we are playing 3 copies of Stake Your Soul, 1 Vanquished Soul Start, 1 Vanquished Soul Continue, and 1 Vanquished Soul Snow Devil. So this felt pretty nice. There were a lot of times where I would see these in my starting hand over the stakes, which of course, 3 and 3, right? I was glad I didn't see all 3 at one point, but Stake Your Soul is really great. The only issue, you need a attributes reveal, start. You need an actual Vanquished Soul on the board. It's not quite broken as we would hope for it to be, but nonetheless, it still works. And then onto our hand traps. Our first bit will be Multrami Fuelos and 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. So these 2, if we didn't win the die roll, we were hoping that we saw one of these 2 to just kind of keep our opponent at bay. And if we were able to keep him at bay, then we would just play the grind game with Vanquished Soul, as Vanquished Soul does. We have played 3 copies of Ash and 2 copies of Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell was just super great in this format, and it was just really great at being able to solidify and shut things out when we needed it. And then we also played the Rescuer's Impulse engine with 3 Impulse and 1 Fire Attacker. Honestly, when it came up, it was really great, but there were a lot of times that we were seeing the Fire Attacker in our hand, both in testing and in the event, which was annoying as all can be, because I would love to see the Impulse to be able to just Impulse, summon Fire Attacker. You added a card to your hand, cool, I'm going to draw. But, it happens. But those are our attributes for the deck. And as you can see, we're not playing like the cash tier Fenrir engine. The only reason why, because like again, losing the die roll, and if I see Holly Sue, I will always prioritize Holly Sue over getting Fenrir on board, you know? Because Holly Sue will do a lot more than Fenrir will. And so being able to just have Holly Sue play on my turn, their turn, or play on their turn, my turn, and then just keep doing that over and over, it just felt really satisfying. And then for some one-ofs, we played one copy of Talents, one Rhoda, one Prosperity, one Called By, and one There Can Be Only One. So if you're wanting to play another copy of Caesar Valley, so you can go ahead and drop the one copy of There Can Be Only One. When this came up, it really helped, really solidified, just putting my opponent on, okay, do you have the back row removal? And sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. And so we were able to just kind of like control the game with There Can Be Only One, which was really nice. Moving to the extra deck, this gets a little interesting. We do play one copy of Exiton, one Vanquish Soul Rocks, because it is surprisingly really good. One Baguska, one Silent Honor Arc with one Nash Knight. We play one Violin the Super Sky Blaster, one Silent Honor Dark, one CXC's Nash Knight, and one C107 Neo Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. For the budget players, the Nash Knight engine is really nice going in the Silent Honor Arc. Man, this came up in one duel where I made this, attached the Silent Honor Arc, and then just like gulped up one of their monsters because it is non-targeting. And then, you know, we went into the CXCs and then CXCs in the Silent Honor Dark and just gulped up another, swung, made Zeus, and we had a double board wipe with Zeus, which was really nice. We did have Typhon and Sky Crisis. A lot of times when we were summoning Typhon, it was a 50-50 chance whether we're hitting the surrender button or if we were really using Typhon to just kind of like keep them at bay a little bit, and we just played a slow grind. And again, like I said, it was 50-50. There were half the times when we summoned this, it was the surrender button. The other half, it was like, okay, it's keeping them at bay enough, and then we can just grind it out. Then for our links, we played 3 Rock and just one copy of SP. Honestly, like, I thought this was pretty solid. I really liked it. The Valen was just an interesting tech just to kind of just Book of Moon things, which is cool. It never came up, but it was there if I needed it. Same thing with the number C107 Galaxy Tachyon Dragon. Instead of playing like the Paradise, Dice Summoner, because as great as that card is for this deck, I hate it. It's just not the way I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And so we were playing that. Also, I kind of hoped that we were going to get a ban list and that it would be announced in the ban list, but they're more than likely going to do a ban list after the European Worlds, or probably just after Worlds in general in August, but we'll see. And then the side deck, because the side deck is where things really mattered the most. We were playing 2 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being with 3 copies of Chaos Hunter, 1 Magnamut with 1 Druid Swarm. We were playing 2 Muchami Meows, 2 Perulia, 2 Kurikar of Incarnates, and 2 DD Crow. So I really liked the Chaos Hunter. Playing that against Malice, playing that against Orcust, just really shut them out of the game, which was insane. And then being able to control the board with the Bystials and the DD Crows was also really nice. We did side in Kurikars a lot, and we never saw them. So it was like, okay. Same thing with Perulia, Meows, and Nib. Like, there were times where we did side them in, but we just never saw them, which was quite unfortunate. But we did see the Darks a lot, which was really nice. I am not going to complain about that because, man, when DD Crow came in, it came in. When the Bystials came in, they came in. When Chaos Hunter came in, oh my gosh, we were hitting the auto win button at that point. But that is it for the deck that we played at the WCQ and for the events. And we plan on playing this a little bit longer just because Vanquish Soul is one of my favorites. And it is just such a fun deck. But I have not forgotten what I said about playing some of our other jank, because we do have some of that we would also like to bring back to the channel. So stay tuned to some of that, but we'll pass it over to you guys.